So I'm just up here on the no-name road at Treeline on the backside of Jones Pass on kind of a slightly drizzly day. Cruised out to the end, flew my drone, and explored a little bit, and I'm on the way back here. Anyway, figured I'd do an update video with some of the mods I've done since my last video on the Suzuki DRZ 4S. So some of the stuff up top here, just got this, what is it, OXO Giant Loop little half bag, fits behind the filler cap, and it's as long as you don't fill it all up, it'll kind of squish out of the way when you're standing, you know, pushing forward. I don't know if I'll run it all the time, but it's always nice to have a little bag so that I'm always having to get in my backpack or the tail bag. I was running the little Tusk mini bags last time, and I still run those most of the time. And I really like them. I like that they've got a little zipper pocket on both sides. I use those for a lot of little stuff. And I mention it because the Tusk Excursion bags do not have that, which is pretty annoying. But otherwise, they're a little bigger bags. And when I carry my drone around up here or anywhere, I've got this tail bag on there. And the excursion bag came with these little brackets, which are meant to mount on a metal license plate frame to attach at the back. I didn't need it for that, so I put them up here, bent them out a little bit, put them in the subframe, and they make a nice place for these straps. And then in terms of how these mounts, I've got this loosened up here. I've got the slimline rack, and it's just the right length to attach at the back here for the bags. And the slimline rack though comes with these big heavy steel arms. It's because most of the racks of the DRZ4S are cantilevered, right? They only attach here to the cross member, subframe cross member, and then the cantilevered with this big arm, which shares the bolt with the bolt under the seat, which you get into all the time. I didn't like having those long bolts and a bunch of spacers plus my strap here and all that. I always felt like I was going to cross thread it. So when I saw that Tusk had just put another set of bolts down through there's a second cross member here, I was like, hey, I can do that. So I just made my own little offset bracket, just like the stock has an offset bracket. This is what comes with it. And set that up, added the right spacers, and I love it. It's lightweight and super strong and no wider than the fender. And then when I do the little saddlebags, its straps still just slide under the seat here and up against the just stop here. So I don't need to do it. I don't have to attach anything in the back. Just slide them in, do the strap, done. And then the other thing you see here is I've got the seat concepts, which this was what? Comfort, XL or extra width, standard height, semi-grip, and been pretty happy with this. Right here, it's the same width and height as stock, so you don't gain or anything, lose anything with, the extra wide. I probably don't need the extra wide, but it doesn't hurt me either, as long as I slide forward when I need to get my feet down further. Let's see, coming down the sides here. Oh, and I removed the logo, which is just sort of careful application of a knife and some, I think, alcohol or something like that. And then down here, I've got the, Fastway Air Exts, billet aluminum. I tried some other pegs. I had some others that were adjustable height, and I had them lowered like 20 millimeters, but they stuck out another 10-15, and I was just clipping them all the time on the single track. If I was any kind of cross slope, I was banging those. I still occasionally brush these because these are about 15 millimeters, maybe I think it was 18 millimeters lower than stock. One thing, and this is sort of, this will get here in a minute, when you're installing any set of pegs on this side, you generally have to remove the brake lever. When you put it back on, be sure you depress the brake light switch. If you just start sliding it back in, it will just catch the side of that switch and push it out of the way. It'll bend the bracket it's on. So anytime you do plugs, be sure foot pegs, be sure you do that. One thing here with the air extensions is they have this little heel thing, and this is meant just for on a dirt bike so that you don't hyperextend your hyperextend your heel, or it's an ankle, sorry. When your heel goes down, if you case a jump, something like that. I didn't need it for that. We put longer bolts in here, and that raises this up, because this is actually down out of the way most of the time. Raise it up a little bit so that it actually becomes a useful place to just stand sometimes. Anyway, the reason I mentioned the brake light switch is I also did the Viridian cruise control. And at one point when I had changed the pegs, the cruise stopped working. I was like, what's going on? It's because that switch wasn't working, and so it thought the brakes were on all the time. And anyway, fixed that, no issues. Works like any other normal, car cruise control with decel, set decel, SL resume, cancel, and it'll cancel with the brake, or even if you pull the clutch in under load, it'll spin the motor up real quick and it detects that and stops. No issues with unintended acceleration or anything like that. The only complaint I have is that with gloves on, you just can't really feel, there's no tactile feel of these switches. They're just so, they're just, barely clicky, but it's fine. Once you know where they are, it's no big issue. And let's see what else. Okay, coming around. Oh, I think last time I had I think I was using this is, the IMS 3.3 gallon tank, but I had the Acerbis lockable cap on. Well, the problem is that cap has a pretty deep proboscis, the thing that sticks down in the center. So you see this one has it too. Well, in the other cap, it sticks down even further, and all the vent holes are on the bottom of that. So happens is you'd fill the bike up, stick the cap in, even not all the way to the top, just down into the, just at the bottom of the filler neck here, and you stick that cap on, and then set the bike over on the side stand, and that would immediately start slowly, any kind of change in pressure or whatever, it would just immediately start forcing gas out through that. Especially if you put it on your hitch carrier or anything like that, take it to a higher altitude, it would just be pumping gas out. And that's even with a cap that has a check valve. Same thing with this guy. If you were to fill it all the way up, and this is a check valve here, and I had it on my rack carrier, I take it up a couple thousand feet, and I get up there and there's literally a fountain of gas. It actually was going against the check valve, going back down, expanding the rubber around here, and then shooting out the top of the cap. So moral of the story is, or lesson learned is, just don't fill. If you're going to fill the bike up, ride it immediately, so you can run the level down. Otherwise, just don't fill it all the way up, and don't fill it all the way up and park it, because it'll definitely drool pretty much with any cap. And that's a lot of that's because this is it's a flat top tank. That's why a lot of tanks really just taper to a point to avoid that issue. Let's see, other stuff up here. Previously, I had the rally lights for the CRF 300L and did some modification of the wiring to make it work. This one is made for the DRZ4S. It has the right plug for the accessory plug back here, has the right bracket. It comes forward so that when you're at full lock, the bracket doesn't run into your radiator guard, which is nice. Lights are plenty bright. There's no fancy wiring. It's just a switch on or off. I usually just pretty much leave them on all the time, aim down a little bit. I also had the Tusk universal windshield on last time, which is taller. It also has the extension on top. That'll put the air over the top of my head with the extension up. Wasn't great for off-road though. I'd either just take that shield off, or pretty much just take the shield off if I was going to do any serious off-road, because it was up higher and back a little bit, so the risk of hitting it on your chest or helmet if you case a jump or something like that. And but for more regular adventure riding, it was just fine. This one will work off-road. I just bought an extra cover here and bolted it on permanently. With the shield down, it's totally out of the way. With the extension up, it pretty much puts the air just right under my chin, so my helmet's in pretty smooth air, while the rest of my chest is completely, I don't have any wind on my chest. So it's pretty decent for highway riding at 75 miles an hour, as long as you ride with earplugs to just for the wind sound. And I think, let's see, what else do we got? Oh, the other thing, two-wheel Dynaworks tune. I did it for stock exhaust with airbox, snorkel delete, and it didn't add a lot, even despite the messing with the throttle percentage and stuff up top. I didn't really notice a whole lot of extra power up top, but I really like the extra torque down low. So like right off idle, even below stock idle, it'll keep pulling, it'll keep just chugging away. Feels a little more analog there, whereas the stock tune is more digital. Like if you're at idle and it's chugging and the revs drop for whatever reason, it can go from just like, feels like it's just running to not running really quickly. You know, there's just sort of this on and off feel to it, whereas the two wheels Dynaworks tune will, it'll just keep trying. It tries until it's completely has to give up. Anyway, I really like, there's trails that I used to have to downshift out a second to get up them, and now I can still run them in second and just keep pulling. Even if I'm up here at altitude climbing in first, it's better. The only issue I had though was that snorkel delete. I swear as the motor broke in, it just got louder and louder and louder. And I did a highway ride, had earplugs in, I'm cruising 75, and I got home and my ears were ringing. It's just too loud. And even off-road, like especially if the bike was a little cold, like right off the truck for the first 25 minutes, it was pretty dang loud. I don't know. So I put the snorkel back in. I'm probably not getting quite as much power or torque as I was, but I like the feel of it. Still more responsive than stock. So anyway, I think that's about it. And anyway, just up here enjoying the day. It's rained recently. It actually was just raining here a little bit, so the road's nice and grippy and a few puddles to splash through. And anyway, it's a very nice place.